Chairman, I yield to the ranking member Garcia.
Thank you, sir. Representative Luna, I appreciate the statements, but I just want to be clear that is a lie, and here is why. Mr. Blanche said that they've been reviewing the documents since the passage of the law, the Contempt law. We have had a legal subpoena in place since the summer, since July. It's been the job of the DOJ to comply with this law since a subpoena passed the subcommittee of this body. Since that subpoena passed in July, we've received 33,000 documents, of which 99% of them were already public documents. And so when we talk about complying with the law, you have to talk about complying with the very subpoena that this committee actually passed in a bipartisan way. And so Mr. Blanche is talking about the Epstein files law, which we should have received all the documents already per the actual law that was voted on. There has been little to zero production of this committee's requests. And so Mr. Blanche is wrong, and he's not being truthful to this committee and to you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I yield remaining time to Ms. Summer, who has the underlying motion, and I know that you said that we would be dealing with that. I just don't think she had enough time to explain her position on it.
Ms. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mfumi. I actually do appreciate that. And I would like to really emphasize that 1% of the files is insulting. It's insulting. In fact, when we consider that Pam Bondi herself has publicly stated that the files exist. She publicly stated that she had already given Donald Trump that information. So it is a little bit concerning that you have not moved in the way that you said you would. This type of energy could be well spent on the DOJ. It could be well spent on not just saying that you want us to release the files. You have power here. This markup is evidence that you were never serious about an honest bipartisan investigation, that you always intended to use this as a one-sided political hit job. Because if you had your way, we actually would have recessed this summer before we were able to force that bipartisan subpoena through the Subcommittee on Federal Law Enforcement. So when we think about this kangaroo court and the dishonesty that's happening right here, right? It dishonors the integrity of our committee and the survivors who have put themselves at risk for justice. We all remember the roundtable where many of us sat and listened to the survivors. We listened to their stories, and one of them spoke and said that she doesn't know if we're good liars or if we're telling the truth. But for the first time, she is hoping that something actually happens here. We left that roundtable, and Mr. Coomer, you yourself said that you wanted to honor those victims, to let Pam Bondi off the hook, to let others who are obviously in those files off the hook is unacceptable. We cannot investigate this fully if we do not have the full files. We cannot see all there is to see if the DOJ is not complying. We cannot move forward. Being in the minority party gives us limited options for actions, and we all must be unwilling to wait if you are not going to subpoena the files. So I thank you, Mr. Mfume, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back also.
Do any other members? Mr. Gosar.
Yes, I yield to the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Gosar, for yielding. First of all, let's go back. When this started, everyone was demanding that we subpoena the Epstein estate. That wasn't in the discharge petition, but I issued a subpoena to the estate. When we met with the victims, when we met privately for 2 hours, Ms. Lee was there and Ms. Crockett and more than half the committee, they were demanding that we subpoena the estate, and we did. We got every document from the estate. There were people who said, oh, there are going to be a lot of questions answered. There'll be names and all that. We've subpoenaed every document, every picture, everything from the estate. We never held back. We've been serious. We've all supported the full release of the documents. As I've stated many times publicly, we wish the process was going quicker. That's a lot of documents, a lot of redactions, a lot of eyes have to be put on this. So the Department of Justice is complying. Now, with respect to Maxwell and the Clintons are not treated differently. Maxwell was always she was willing to appear, but made very clear she would take the Fifth Amendment. The Clintons refused to appear. The Clintons refused to appear. And one of the proposals that Clinton made was, if we would let Hillary Clinton off, then Mr. Garcia and I could travel to Mr. Clinton's house and bring one staffer and take notes, but no transcript. That's not even a thing, and you all know that. The media, I'm sure, would require a transcript. There's no real investigation without a transcript. So, what few counter proposals the Clintons' massive legal team has made aren't acceptable, and I don't think anyone is going to stand up here and willing to publicly argue that they were. So does any other member seek recognition? Mr. Frost.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The American people deserve full transparency, and anyone who has relevant information about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes must be compelled to come forward and share with this committee. Wealth and power cannot shield people from accountability from this committee. It is the victims of these horrific crimes who deserve protection, not Jeffrey Epstein and the people associated with him. We all agree. We want to hear from former President Bill Clinton. But committee Republicans have failed to conduct a serious investigation. For instance, they refused to hold Attorney General Pam Bondi in contempt for failure to release 99% of the Epstein files on a bipartisan law that we all passed on the House floor, and B, that had a deadline. And B, they refused to hold Ghislaine Maxwell accountable for defying this committee's subpoenas. We all know that President Trump has a long-standing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. His administration continues to obstruct the release of the Epstein files for this reason. We've seen photos of them together. Even Elon Musk posted, @Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason why they have not been made public. President Trump's own Mar-a-Lago club appears to come up often in connection to Jeffrey Epstein. From reporting, we know that Epstein was deeply involved with Mar-a-Lago. He was a frequent visitor to the club for years. The club sent employees, usually young women, to Epstein's mansion for massages, manicures, and other spa services. Staff members from the club made frequent calls to Epstein's home in Palm Beach, and on these calls, Epstein engaged in sexually suggestive behavior, such as exposing himself. And in 2000, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited Epstein's trafficking victim from Mar-a-Lago, where she was working as an employee. This committee must also investigate what Mar-a-Lago club members and the staff knew about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Getting documents from Mar-a-Lago is about uncovering evidence, holding these people accountable, and doing right by the victims of these horrific crimes. So we are all for making sure that we hear from everyone. I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican. I'm tired of rich people trying to evade justice and accountability, period. But you can't do it just for the party you disagree with. You can't do it in a politically motivated way. So here's the opportunity to show it's not a politically motivated thing. Let's also make sure that we get these documents from Mar-a-Lago. So with that, pursuant to Clause 2K6 of House Rule 11, I move that the House shall subpoena the Mar-a-Lago Club and all entities under common ownership or control with the Mar-a-Lago Club to provide the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform with 1. All documents, communications, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein, to include but not limited to personnel files and records, client files and records, massage and spa services records, complaints and grievances filed against Jeffrey Epstein, internal communications, and billing statements. 2. A list of all Mar-a-Lago Club personnel who provided massages on behalf of the Mar-a-Lago Club between 1997 and 2003, regardless of whether such personnel were contractors or formerly employed masseuses or otherwise. And 3, a list of all Mar-a-Lago Club personnel who were employed as or acted as managers of the Mar-a-Lago Club Spa between 1997 and 2003.
A motion was made by Mr. Frost. The motion is improper as the item is not on the agenda. Any other chair recognizes?
So Mr. Chair, you want to use procedure to push back accountability?
No, we're holding people accountable today. That's why we're here.
Well, why won't you move to make sure that we get the relevant documents from Mar-a-Lago, that I just read this? and you're saying it's because it's not on the agenda that we can't move forward with this, you have full discretion of this committee to say, you know what, let's have a vote in a bipartisan way to say we want the documents from Mar-a-Lago.
I don't have full discretion. It's in the rules. We vote on a rules package at the beginning of
You're
every
able to
Congress.
say right now that we can vote on this.
We cannot vote on it. It's in our rules. We'll be breaking our rules. We have to
Right.
apply to the rules too. We're not like the Clintons.
No. You are hiding behind process to protect these Mar-a-Lago documents, and I think it's disgraceful.
Chair recognizes Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing was noted in the Clintons' letters is they said the subpoenas were illegal. I'd be curious to know if the ranking member thinks that they're illegal. And with that, I'd yield the rest of my time to you.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. I want to make sure everyone is aware. On February 11th, Attorney General Bondi will be appearing as the sole witness in front of the Judiciary Committee. Ms. Crockett is a member of the Judiciary Committee. I would assume, I don't want to speak for Ms. Crockett, but I would assume you'll ask her questions about the Epstein investigation and her progress towards releasing the documents. Mr. Massey is a member of the Judiciary Committee. He's already stated publicly he's going to spend his 5 minutes asking the Attorney General about the Epstein documents. So the Attorney General is slated to be in front of Congress, and I'm pretty confident that just about everybody on that committee is going to ask the Attorney General where we are with the document production. So I think that's important to note. February 11th, she's slated to be in front of the Judiciary Committee. And with the discharge petition, when the House voted for that, we issued the subpoenas for the Epstein documents. Then we all voted for the discharge petition. The discharge petition has jurisdiction in the Judiciary Committee. So she's going to be in front of the Judiciary Committee. The next week we're in session. So I think that's important to note. Do any other members seek? Okay, Mr. Lynch, then, yeah, go ahead.